Come on, son.
Raphael's on the track.
Come on, son. Come on, son. Come on, son. What up, y'all? It's Ed Love. It's time for another podcast. Come on, son. The podcast brought to you by cigarsinternational.com. That's where I go for all my cigar needs. Matter of fact, I smoked a Flathead the other day by CAO with the it's a big gauge. It's like a 70 gauge. Oh my God, what a great smoke. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was chilling. I wasn't worrying about nothing. I was in Atlanta. It was Cigar Week in Atlanta. Big up to everybody that came out to Cigar Week. Shout out to my girl Kimbercy for taking care of me, man. She has Silhouette cigars and her smokes are really good too. Trying to help her work to get it all on every platform so y'all can check them out for yourself. But she had it going on, man, and I really enjoyed myself. We was tailgating. I smoked like 2 of her Silhouette cigars. They were really, really good. Maduros, really tasty. Fine tobacco. It was absolutely fantastic, and she took good care of me. And that's how people mess up when they don't do business correctly. Like if someone supports you a lot, then giving a little bit will help your support to continue. Like, shout out to my man Cigar Mike too. Cigar Mike had something going on with Rocky Patel at 617 this past week for Cigar Week. And when I walked in there, Mike took care of me. Mike got me a drink. He took me over to Rocky Patel. He got me a stick. I saw Gary Sheffield when I was out there. Theo Ratcliffe when I was out there. My man Tyrone Hill when I was out there. So I just wanted to shout them out and remind y'all to go to cigarsinternational.com for all your cigar needs. And, ladies and gentlemen, get 10% off when you check out ED10 off. That's the code, ED10OFF. Now, let's get to this podcast. Y'all know when I do come on the podcast, sometimes I have guests, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I shoot from the bottom of the hip, sometimes I don't. But today, I figured I don't want to shoot from the bottom of my stomach and my hips and my toes by myself. So I invited to podcast with me 2 voices you may be familiar with from past podcasts. One is my co-host on 104.3 Jams, the Ed Lover Morning Show. Miss Jen BT is in the building with me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. And the other one is my super producer of this podcast and my morning show in Chicago, the Ed Lover Morning Show. We call her Baby Bucket, Krista Hayes. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you? Sorry, I was just making sure the levels are good.
See, that's what she's doing. Always making sure the levels are good. We can bring them down a little bit if you want me to. Just a hair. How about right there and right there? Thank you. Okay, so see, she's always on top of her game when it comes to the way I broadcast. So let's go with a weekend review. Let's start off with what's going down today. Now, we record this podcast a little bit earlier than you actually get it. So by the time you actually get this podcast, Bill Cosby's sentence should be handed down. Mm-hmm. And it saddens the fuck out of me on a lot of different levels. First of all, level number one, I've been a fan of Bill Cosby since I was a kid. I used to freaking watch Fat Albert. Mm-hmm. My mom and dad had Bill Cosby's albums. Bill Cosby was on I Spy when I was a kid. The Cosby Show, one of the most historical shows in the history of television and for African Americans, and I'm going to tell you why. For so many years on television, you guys might notice, and you and Jen might be too young to notice, black people was treated like shit on TV. We were either the maids or the butlers, or we always got the role of the fucking criminals on all the white cop shows. They was always locking black people up. So our image on television wasn't that good. Even when Hattie McDaniel won the Academy Award, she won it in the role of a maid. Even up to years ago, people were complaining about why did Halle Berry have to get fucked by Billy Bob Thornton, right? Y'all can chime in. The mic is right there, right? By Billy Bob Thornton to get her Oscar. Why did
Washington
when he did Glory, he got in he was a slave in Glory, and that's when he won his Best Supporting Actor award, right? When he played a fucked up cop that was embezzling money and giving people fucked up shit, he didn't win. Why is it always got to be those kind of roles for us to get recognized to do anything? So when the Cosby Show came on television, right, here's a doctor, Cliff Huxtable. Here's a lawyer, his wife, with regular children, upwardly mobile, yes, but gave us something to reach for, right? It wasn't what's happening. It wasn't hey, hey, hey. It wasn't dynamite. It wasn't we live in the projects. It's we got money. This is the life, and this is me dealing with my kids. And here's something to be proud of to be on television. And it was the #1 TV show for everybody, not African Americans, just in the world. We used to run home to make an appointment to make sure we saw the Cosby Show, right? Before Barack Obama, before Michelle Obama, Cliff and Claire Huxtable gave us something to be proud of. Am I right? Bill Cosby gave us a different world. When A Different World was on television, more black people enrolled in college than any other time. And now to see this man go away for
the rest of his life, right?
Possibly he's 80-something years old.
Yeah.
The shit bothers me. Mm-hmm. Because Bill Cosby is America's dad, and I feel like
Ghost Dad.
He was Ghost Dad, and I feel like the powers that be are purposely trying to tarnish the Bill Cosby's image. I feel like that, but then on the other side, if it's true what they're saying about Bill Cosby, if he did this, then he does deserve some kind of punishment.
But earlier in the morning show, you made a very, very valid statement about a lot of these women who are accusing him of these actions. They got paid off. So why would they take the money? Like, why would they not? That's what doesn't sit well with me.
That what doesn't sit well with me either. And I'm going to tell you this why. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I have to tell y'all my fucking truth.
Yes.
That's what this podcast is all about. I talked to my sister about this. Mm-hmm. My sister said, if Bill Cosby did that shit to me, there's no amount of money in the fucking world
I wouldn't have took it.
That I would have took to keep my mouth shut.
No, I agree. And I said this when we were talking earlier, that money is so enticing. Imagine if you got $4 million, you think that would fill the void when you're a victim of sexual abuse, but I bet you they took it thinking that, right? Because you're always looking for an escape, something tangible, but it didn't. It really didn't. It didn't bring justice for that woman. Money doesn't bring justice.
Now, Jen BT is my Mexican-American co-host on the Ed Lover Morning Show. She's a Latina. She's a minority, the same way I'm a minority. I'm sorry, Jen. What Bill Cosby meant to us as black Americans, I hate to see another black woman bring him down. That shit fucking bothers me. I'm sorry. If the shit would have came from a white woman, I would have been like, here we go. And I just don't. But there's a part of me, Jen, that wants to believe these women because I'm all about this shit. And I know how horrible it is for a woman to be sexually assaulted. I know how horrible. I know women that were raped. I have personal friends that were raped, date raped and otherwise. I know how horrible it is. I always put myself in a woman's place. A woman can't walk out of her front door without being accosted some way by a man. Mm-hmm. Whether it's verbally, I can't imagine that every day of my life I got to have somebody catcalling me or whistling to me or trying to talk to me. It's a strain on your brain, right? But there's a part of me that believes that because Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC, they trying to destroy this man. I'm sorry. I don't know if Bill Cosby did it to everybody. I'm quite sure he did it to somebody. I will rest my hat on that he is guilty of something. But of all of these women that's coming forward now, and then there was a woman that came out and said that she was approached to bring fake charges against Bill Cosby. And when that story came out, the news media squashed that shit. They swept that shit under the rug because she was telling the truth that people actually came to her and said, we will pay you to help us bring Bill Cosby down.
Oh, that's not cool. No, I have the same mixed emotions as you do because that show, Bill Cosby, meant everything for me. And you say this a lot, Ed, but I can't separate the man from the actor. He broke down so many barriers.
But we do. So why is this shit okay for Bill Cosby? I'm going to tell you why we do. Why do we separate the man, right? When Bill Cosby's case, everybody's ready to throw him under the bus and run the bus over him, right? But we had the mute R. Kelly movement, right? Mm-hmm. People want to mute R. Kelly. A lot of women said R. Kelly did this and did that, even though R. Kelly was not found guilty in a court of law. That takes me to another aspect of this conversation. I want y'all to jump in. How the fuck, as a black man in America, can I trust the justice system? How many black men have you seen on TV, and you've seen too, Jen, and Latino men, Hispanic men, that have gone to jail for 27 years for a murder they did not fucking commit? The Central Park 5, my ex-wife is working on that movie right now. We have Raymond Santana right here on a podcast. He went to jail for damn near 10 years for something he did not do. What's going to make me think that Bill Cosby, with all his money, is going to get a fair shake? That they not setting him up. I'm sorry.
You shouldn't, though. Like I don't think that there's
the justice system in
you
the United States of America.
As a black man, you shouldn't
Bill
expect
Cosby to get
it.
a fair shake. He's a double threat. He's a black man with money. He's a double threat. OJ would have been cool if his dumb ass didn't walk up in there and
try to take his stuff.
They was waiting to lock OJ ass up. The same way they waiting to lock Bill Cosby up. It's no secret that Bill Cosby's son got killed right after he made his bid for NBC. How the boy get shot fixing a tire? His car was on run flats. This is facts. So I can't believe that Bill Cosby is getting a fair shake out of the criminal justice system. And to say that we don't separate the man from what he does for a living is fucking bullshit. Because y'all still out there bouncing your ass to Tekashi 6ix9ine records, and this motherfucker's a pedophile. He's been to jail. He's on trial. He's getting ready to get sentenced. He just wrote the judge a letter asking the judge not to send him to jail for sleeping with a girl that he knew was underage and giving her fucking drugs, and he knew it. Why do we let him get over?
That's right. I mean, Bill Cosby is powerful, and unfortunately, you always want to bring someone down with power. So I really think you have a good point there.
I just can't trust the American
right
justice system. And I think if you give somebody enough shit under the table and you gas them up, you said money is a powerful enticement, right? Mm-hmm. And I still think if the government their government always had government informants that they paid, that if you find enough women and you slide everybody some money, they will come out and say, Bill Cosby did this, Bill Cosby did that, Bill Cosby did this to me. And to me, that makes it fucked up for the woman who was actually sexually assaulted.
I've always been a big believer in evidence and law. Like to this day, we can't pull video, we can't pull pictures, we can't pull tests that were ran on these people back in the day. Like the hearsay, again, I feel terrible for the people who actually went through some type of post-traumatic stress if they actually were, raped.
If it really happened.
But as a black man, you shouldn't trust the judge. I think black men as a whole need to educate themselves. I think minorities, especially
period.
Puerto Rican and Hispanic men, they need to educate themselves and make themselves smarter than the judicial system. So that way, when they get set up, they have some type of, there's men that are in prison right now that are there are men that were in prison that were wrongfully convicted for something,
and
read their own law school books, educated themselves while they were in prison, and got themselves out of prison.
After they had to do 27, 28 years.
And think about it. You don't have the money to have a good lawyer to represent you, so you're stuck with the lawyer that the state gives you.
And then the state pull this bullshit trick on you. If you take this to trial, you could possibly do life, or you could do 15. So we only offering you 5 or 10 or 15. You get 15, you're doing state, you do 7.5 and you be home. That's how they get you, because they know you don't have the money to fight it. That's how they get you.
It's depressing.
It's very depressing.
As a black woman, if I pray that the good Lord does put someone in my life to where I am able to have kids, but if I have sons, I literally have to raise them to be always cautious. I have to teach them how to react when they get pulled over. I have to tell him to be smarter than he's going to have to work 10 times harder than the smartest kid in his class just so he can keep up, not even excel, to keep up.
And why do we believe it?
And it breaks my heart.
Why do we believe it? Because they parade all of these women out here that say this shit. Bill Cosby is being convicted and sent to jail on the same fucking thing that Donald Trump has been considered. One of them tried to be the president. The other one became the fucking president. What's the difference here? What's the difference? Because Donald Trump is white and Bill Cosby is black?
It's because Donald Trump was a billionaire, and
Right.
he can buy his way out of
Right.
anything.
None
We've
of this
seen
stuff,
it.
none
We've
of this
witnessed
stuff
it.
that he's been accused of, he don't have to even do a deposition of none of it until after he's the president of the United
You all,
States.
there's literally tapes out there. You just to talk about Donald Trump briefly, but there's a new show on Viceland with
I saw
Tom
it.
Arnold. It is
Tom Arnold.
There's tapes out there, y'all, of Donald Trump being a fucking savage, and he is our president. He's not impeached yet, and there's substantial amount of information out in the world that can lead to impeachment. But because he gets 10 steps ahead of the game,
That's right.
and eliminates this so-called evidence, that takes money.
And
Bill Cosby doesn't have that advantage.
They have no evidence like that on Bill Cosby.
None. Zero, y'all.
He's been convicted
Zero,
on he
Jen.
said, she
Zero.
said testimony, and they weren't supposed to let his civil stuff involved in the criminal, and they let that in anyway. And you mean to tell me that this is not railroading a black man?
If he did it, y'all, and Jen made a very good point about money. If he did it, and you are that fucked up about it, why would you take it? And
That's
I
what I
understand
say.
being young, being 22, and $1 million put in front of you, but like, God willing, you know what? The judgment day. That's all I'm gonna say.
And then Judgment Day is coming. And then you come years later, right before the statute of limitations is about to expire, and you take this man to trial. As a black woman, you should be ashamed of yourself, especially because you took his money. First of all, if it bothered you and pained you that much, you shouldn't have took the money. And secondly, that man is an icon, yo. You don't bring that icon down and have networks taking his show off the network, taking universities that gave that man doctorates, asking for their doctorate back, but not giving back his money, though.
There's a petition. There's that petition going around right now of them trying to remove his star on the Hall of Fame. He has thousands and thousands of signatures.
Deserves that star.
He does.
No
that has
matter
nothing.
what.
Exactly. Donald Trump's star is still there. It
Right.
gets damaged every day,
You know
but
why?
it's still
Because
there.
they say he hasn't been convicted of anything. And it's the same thing that I've said about R. Kelly. Everybody want to mute R. Kelly, but what has R. Kelly been convicted of? We still look past a lot of people's bullshit because, they can make a good record, or he's been a TV icon. If Bill Cosby is absolutely guilty, which he has been found guilty in a court of law, which I don't believe, because black men never got a fair shake in the justice system in the first place. So you would have to show me a goddamn videotape of him doing something before
I need to see the receipts.
I need to see the receipts. I absolutely see the receipts.
And it's over 30 years, so there aren't any. It's he say, she say. How can someone go to prison and die in prison strictly from he say, she say? That is toxic. It is strategic, and it breaks my heart because, again, for the women that it really did happen to, I don't think that you would take that money. I really don't. And maybe that's just me being optimistic.
A cab driver back in the days tried to rape my sister. And she got out. She got out the cab. Mm-hmm. And she got away from him. Mm-hmm. There was no amount of money that he could have given her to satisfy my sister. You know what satisfied my sister? The fact that me and my brother Kelvin caught him and whooped him into damn near put him in a coma.
Listen.
I mean, can you put a price on your dignity?
No. But some people do.
No, these women,
go.
I'm sorry.
We living in a time where everybody
Lord,
got a price
forgive
on
me.
their dignity. These bitches is getting naked.
For
they got
Instagram
children.
likes.
They got children. They get naked for Instagram likes to become an influencer to get a little $50 or $60 a month from a product to push it. Yeah, you got a price on your damn dignity.
Yeah.
So they can be popping in the club. These bitches is looking up to Bernice Burgos, who has absolutely no talent, who used her beauty and her fame and her ass to get shit out of ballers. That's what they look up to. Yeah, there's a price. There's no price on your dignity.
Yeah, because you're a
Jen,
wholesome
because you're a
person.
mother and you're a mature woman, and Krista doesn't have a price on her dignity. But please don't ask these little hot in the pants bitches. If they thought that they could get me to do something to them, they would and take me to court, and I had to pay them $10,000. That's a come up.
And the sad part is your level of maturity speaks, because when I was 21, 22, first living here in Chicago, and I would see all my hoe friends living, wearing red bottoms and having bags and being in the VIP popping bottles, and here I am in GA, and I used to lose sleep at night. What do I got to do to be like that? How come I'm not selling my dignity? And then fast forward to me 31 years old now, 10 years later, I wouldn't trade. No, I wouldn't. I would not put a price tag on my dignity.
Are they still hoeing?
Some of them are. Some of them are doing really
But
well.
at one point, you're going to be an old hoe, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And old hoes don't get chose.
Exactly.
That
shit used to break my heart.
That's a pimp mantra.
I wish I could.
Old hoes don't get chose. You don't want to be the old bitch still out here fucking working in the strip club and everybody laughing at you. I know one of them that work at Onyx, and all the young girls laugh at her.
As a man, do you think there's a fine line? Here's where I think it gets blurry when it comes to the justice system and these women with these he say, she say things against Bill Cosby. There are women that have went and stood on at the stand and said, yes, I remember taking these drugs. And then there are some women who say, no, I had a cappuccino, and after I drank my cappuccino, I started feeling woozy, and then come to find out it turned out to be a Quaalude or something like that.
Right.
I sit here and I wonder, could there have been a time? What's the line? What's the line that you draw when it comes to remembering your actions? Because to me, it seems like these women who are just now coming against him, they were probably about it. I'm sorry, but they were probably like, let's all pop pills. Let's all do this. Let's all be together. And then when the government or the informant comes up and says, yo, did you ever have an opportunity with Bill Cosby? Did he ever rape you or molest you? She could probably be like, you know what? It's 30 years later. My memory's kind of blurry, but I do remember all of us doing drugs together. Like, what's the line?
Right. Or if that's why there's a statute of limitation, or if there's some money on the line. I don't know for sure, but as a black man, I don't trust the justice system in the United States, and especially as a powerful black man like Bill Cosby, who tried to buy NBC. I just don't fucking trust it. Let's move on.
Yes.
Hate is real and living. We saw it. It was on display, and it tried to get backtracked.
Oh.
Thank God, Tiffany Haddish. Yeah. Tiffany Haddish just won an Emmy for her appearance on Saturday Night Live. Cat Williams won an Emmy for his guest appearance on Atlanta, which is my man show. What's his name?
Childish
Gambino, Donald Glover, who, God, I take my hat off to this dude. He is so fucking uber talented, and this man deserves our undying support. The man has the show smash breakout hit Atlanta on FX. The man's a hell of a funny stand-up comedian and a hell of a rapper and a singer. The man is entertainment put together and a hell of a writer because he writes a lot of the stuff too. But then Tiffany Haddish is on the come up. Cat Williams goes on the show with another radio station in Atlanta, Wanda Smith and Frank Ski. Well, I've known Frank. How do I fucking forget
Everybody knows Frank Ski.
Right, I forget Frank's name.
Urban radio.
Yeah, you know Frank Ski. Known him since he was in Baltimore and I was in New York. Frank Ski show with Wanda Smith, and Tiffany Haddish comes up, and at first, Kat says, "I like Tiffany Haddish. I'm happy for Tiffany Haddish," and then he goes in on it. And then, to my opinion, that's somebody like saying, hey, did you hear Ed Lover was in Chicago? No, yeah, I know about his little radio show. I support his little radio show. It's shade, but you're throwing shots at the same time. But he threw shots at Tiffany Haddish. Then, when they got together and saw each other at the Emmys, Tiffany still took a picture with him. And I just think that it's fucked up that Cat hated on Tiffany. I just think it's fucked up to drag that woman and to say that she ain't a real comedian, she don't deserve what she's getting, and to name Lunel, Melanie Camacho. Who else did he name?
Not some more. Did he say some more? He said a bunch of female comedians.
I think he did say some more too, but he said she's not this one, that one, and the third. What do y'all think about that? And then Kevin Hart roasted his ass.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I really hate when people try to take a woman's crown off her head when she's at the top of her game. What is your point of doing that? She didn't do anything to him, and even for him to say to her, or to say about her, oh, you can't remember a joke Tiffany Haddish ever did. Do you remember a comedy set she's ever done? No. Well, she's not a legend. So I think it was wrong too. But
she ain't a legend. But who is that for Cat Williams to say who's a
who
legend
are
and
you?
who right and who aren't?
Let her have
who's
her
not
moments.
a legend? When you became very popular for your type of comedy, and you was floating around doing your thing, and then you did the part in Friday which was Friday the 3rd or the Friday after next?
Oh,
or next
Friday after.
Which Friday was he in?
Friday After Next.
Friday After Next,
Friday,
right?
next Friday, then Friday After Next.
Friday After Next when Cat Williams was in there. And you did your parts in different movies, and you did this and did that. Did Eddie Murphy step out and say you weren't funny?
Nope. You don't hate on people like that.
Did Steve Harvey, did Cedric the Entertainer, did D.L. Hughley step out and say you don't deserve what you getting and you're not that funny? You sell out a lot of everywhere you go, Cat Williams. He sells out. But did anybody jump and step on your neck and say that you don't deserve what you got?
But listen to who we're talking about, y'all. Do you expect more from Cat Williams? Do you expect more from? No, he's almost like borderline a maniac. We forget, he literally 4 years ago, he was in the news. Not even 4 years ago, when I was with you in Atlanta, just 2 years ago. He was in the news every single week.
For one thing or for another thing. I just hate the fact that Tiffany has to take the high road when I can see in her face she does not want to take the high road. And I applaud Kevin Hart for not taking the high road. I applaud Kevin Hart for pretty much saying that fucking Cat is a hater. And that Cat, you need to put on the people in your team. Who have you made great? Who have you put in a movie?
Yeah, because Kevin's been there. Kevin said, I have watched her be homeless. I have watched her.
Kevin gave her money when she was living in her car in front of the Comedy Store in L.A.
So that's like him coming for one of your boys. He's going to take up for, someone that he rides with. I'm quite sure that Cat don't have no real friends.
I'm quite sure. You think so?
No,
you think Red Grant and them really don't like him? They just keep on them so they can stay on tour with him.
Where's Red Grant going on Instagram posting a video saying, "Cat, chill. I love you. You're my brother. Calm the fuck down." There's no. It's enough money out here for everybody to eat, and I just think that Cat Williams wants to go back to the days where he was the number one comedian in the country.
Did you ever think that maybe? And I don't know if Cat thought this. I've seen these women that he talks about in movies before. I've seen them in roles on a role on this, a role on that, a role on that. When Tiffany Haddish had her opportunity for Girls Trip, okay, and he goes, "Oh, you mean that script I saw in 2004? So what? Don't belittle the script. You didn't want to do it. It doesn't matter, okay? How long the script's been around? She was up against the best in the business. Jada Pinkett Smith, Queen Latifah. Who else was in that movie?
Queen, Jada, Tiffany, and
you're talking about Girls Trip?
Yeah.
We're missing
the young lady. She came in for an interview. How did we forget her name?
Oh my gosh. She's so from Scary Movie. She's amazing. Why are we not thinking of her name?
Got brain fart right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about.
It's gonna come to me.
But she's an established dramatic and comedic actress.
Regina Hall.
Regina Hall. That's
Regina
it.
Hall.
Who's been in a lot of movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Haddish shone brightly in that movie. She killed it. She was the comedy, and she bought the comedy. So if that was what it took to launch her career, who gives a fuck if she's not the top-notch stand-up comedian in the world? Like I said before, I've seen most of those other women that Cat or women that Cat are talking about in movies, and they weren't frankly, they weren't fucking fantastic. I've done movies movies that I was in that I wasn't fantastic. If you had that opportunity and you killed it and everybody thinks that you killed it, what's wrong with that being the launching pad for whatever's next for you?
You're right. And you know what? Cat Williams said that really irked me too. He said she hasn't paid her dues.
Yes, she has.
Who the fuck seriously?
Who makes the dues? Who makes the rules?
Due to what, though? Due to what? What do you mean she hasn't paid her due? Due to what? Due to what and
if
where?
If a motherfucker never rapped before in his life, right? Or he had jumped on one or two mixtapes or one or two records with Wayne, right? He only had one or two records. He's been in the background. He's been trying. Tiffany's been trying. She was doing stand-up comedy in clubs when she was sleeping in her car. When she was trying. If the dude put out an album and the rest of America gravitates towards that album, then God damn it, God bless him, right? Excuse me for saying
Yeah,
God damn
okay.
and then God bless. But
I just don't understand. What is she paying her dues for?
why is he such a petty motherfucker at times?
Pay your dues like what? Like, did Eddie Murphy have to pay his dues?
Eddie Murphy paid his dues.
But
The
what do
dudes is doing comedy clubs.
Gotcha. Okay, that's
Taking
what I needed.
$50, $25, $75,
That's what I needed to hear.
$150.
So who said that she didn't do that,
She
though?
did that. She lived in her car and still went to the comedy
Exactly.
club because that's how much she believed
Doing
in what she was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Doing auditions. All right? If she took a role and the role was, that script been around since 2004, so fucking what, dude?
And she killed it. Like, I don't think anybody else could have.
That's what he was
Played
trying to
that
say.
role
And
that she
he
did.
told Wanda Smith, you would have stood out if you played that same role. I don't think so. I think it's what Tiffany Haddish brought to the table, what she decided to do, but I just really wish she'd have went on the Breakfast Club and would have went and said, fuck
That's what
Cat
her
Williams.
girls are for. That's what her homegirls are for. She's probably ripping him a new asshole and is just sitting back and because they are expecting her to be an angry black woman,
Yeah,
y'all.
that's true.
They are.
But
The
you know
media
what?
is
You know
expecting
what?
her to fill that role.
And for Tiffany Haddish, success is the best revenge, sweetheart.
Amen.
Just keep on doing your thing because so far you have proven that you're not a one-dimensional actress.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Cat needs
Cat
needs
is
to keep
one-dimensional.
he needs to keep
He's
himself
one-dimensional.
relevant.
As far as an actor is concerned,
Yeah.
you pretty much get the same type of
Amen.
things
Him mentioning
every time.
Wanda and him mentioning Tiffany is keeping him relevant. He has to name drop and hate on other people in order for him to. What is Cat? God, he needed that role in Atlanta. I forgot all about Cat Williams until he pulled up with Alligator Man, Florida Man. And it was a great episode, but he literally needed to name drop these people in order for him to go viral, in order for him to be relevant again. And it makes me sad.
Or without going to jail. Cat is very relevant as a stand-up comedian, and Cat is extremely
Hilarious.
funny and extremely
Very
talented as a stand-up comedian. But as y'all said earlier, there's plenty of room for all of us to eat. There's plenty of room. And Tiffany, you took the high road, sister, and I kind of applaud you for it because I don't know if I could have took the high road, especially, well, at this point in my career, I don't know if I'll take the high road because I've been doing this for too long, and I'm just getting tired of just fucking, especially amongst us. Like, it ain't enough of us on the TV. It ain't enough of us in movies. We get a little bit roll here, bit roll there, but you always see these new movies coming out like they got this First Man coming out again about the first man that walked in space, and I always look at it, okay, here we go, white people save the fucking world again. You know, it's always these new shows on TV about these young doctors, and one black dude is in it, or one black nurse, and he's the new genius, Doogie Howser, young fucking, it's never somebody Mexican or black or even Asian for that matter. That's the new cool young person. That's why I'm glad Crazy Rich Asians is doing such good numbers at the box office and shows like Fresh Off the Boat with a mostly Asian cast. But white people love to do movies that ain't about nobody but themselves. We don't get the same opportunities as white people do in television, film, or stand-up. Jen and I were just sitting here talking about how we don't fucking like British comedy. This shit ain't funny to me.
It's not funny.
There's a lot of people out there that sell out everywhere they go. Sarah Silverman, one of them. She gets more movies, more stand-up gigs. She plays everything. What's the other one named that's so cool with Ben Affleck and all of them? The lady, the female comedian. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head. I see her face in my mind, but I've seen her do stand up a million times. I watched her stand up specials on Netflix, and I was like, "What the fuck is funny about?"
You're not talking about Amy Schumer, are you?
I don't even think she that
Yeah,
funny.
Amy Schumer's not funny.
I don't think she's that funny. I watched Leslie Jones grind like a motherfucker. I tell you, I've known her when her name was Big Les. Before she changed her, she has a stand-up, I think it's on Amazon, an early one, an hour, when she was calling herself Big Les for Big Leslie. And I watched that young woman grind into in the ground. I mean, standing in the back of Caroline's like, hey, can I get 5 minutes? Hey, can I get 5 minutes? And I was like, Les, Big Les, I got you. Any comedy show, just wanting to get on stage and hone her craft. And now she's on Saturday Night Live, and somebody got something to say about the way she look. Like, you fucking troll fucks. Like, who the fuck are you? You sit behind a computer or on your phone and type about somebody's looks when this girl been doing it from the bottom. And if she got Ghostbusters, ain't nobody, she can't be in Ghostbusters. Remember that shit? Right? So my message out there to Kat and anybody else out there, let these people live. They work just as hard as you work to get to where they are. You might not think they're funny, then keep that shit to yourself, because we need more unity and less separation. And plus, Eddie Murphy and them ain't do that shit to you at all.
What's the harm in just being quiet and just keeping it to yourself?
Truly.
What's the harm in just saying, God bless her, I love her, she ain't my cup of tea?
Go to your friends and talk about it with your friends. Like, you don't need to put it out there for everyone to. But whatever. Hey.
Just a bunch of shit.
Just a bunch.
Just a bunch of shit. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay, so let's switch subjects. We done had enough of that. Okay. I have to ask y'all a question. Is everybody qualified to talk about the culture of hip-hop as a whole, or am I just old school?
I think you can't.
Because I'm seeing these things, right? Yeah. And I'm seeing. I just don't. You know what? I was at. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all what my man said.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna tell you why I brought this up. Okay. So, Joe Buttons.
Okay.
He got a show, right? It's on Revolt and all of that, right? And it's called, what is it called? The Culture?
I don't watch it.
You don't?
No.
Why? Do you feel like Joe is just a loudmouth now?
Joe he is entertaining. I'm a very big fan of his wife. I think Sin is amazing. I'm a fan of their kid. But I don't take time out of my day to critique hip-hop when I can, A, I work with you.
Right.
And B, I could just go listen to it myself and come up with my own opinion. I used to be like that when he was on the show on Complex with academics and Old Girl. And
that's what I'm saying. Joe put some work in. And I'm not talking about Joe, and that's why I brought this up. Joe put work in, right?
Yes.
Joe was a rapper,
I like
MC,
his Slaughterhouse work.
battle guy
I do.
before that. Mm-hmm. I remember when Nitty and them found Joe, Jersey City dude, running around battling everybody, rapping, writing, ghostwriting. To me, Joe is a voice in hip-hop. But the rest of these motherfuckers is the ones that get on my nerve.
Who is like who?
Like when he was on the show with academics and who else was on there?
I don't even remember.
Who the fuck is these people that be talking?
But you know his following is stupid.
Huge.
He gets like millions and millions
That's
of
because
views
he's in this
fucking.
he's young and he's in this age.
I personally,
I had it without Instagram, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, I had millions of motherfuckers watching me on a
physically
daily,
on TV,
physically
from
running
Hong
home.
Kong and shit.
So don't compare your shit to my shit.
No, I don't know, and maybe it's me missing the ball.
And I don't know who buying followers, so I don't believe none of that shit.
He came out of nowhere, but I mean, tomato. Again, Erykah Badu clowned him so bad, saying that he looked like the mouse from Tom and Jerry. That's just embedded in my mind.
He does.
I don't know, I don't know.
I just feel like everybody thinks that they're the world's foremost authority now on everything because they got a voice. And I was sitting at Hyde Park Cigars here in Chicago, ladies and gentlemen, talking one day, and this dude just out of nowhere sat down and started talking to me about hip hop. And then they always want to go through a top 5, right? Then he wanted to go through top 5 albums, and I said, in my opinion, Nas's Illmatic is one of the greatest albums ever made in hip hop, right? Mm-hmm. My opinion. Oh no, that shit. Bullshit. And then my man Stevie B, who's a sports agent, been working in sports for the last 25 years, leaned over and said, bro, if you ain't in the Hall of Fame, you can't talk it. In nothing.
Oh, about hip hop.
About nothing.
About hip hop.
About hip hop. Like with any subject, you can't sit up and call yourself an authority on it if you're not in the Hall of Fame. Now, I can talk hip-hop with Snoop.
Yeah, you can talk because
Snoop
he's a Hall of Fame.
Hip-hop, Snoop can talk about hip-hop because he's a Hall of Famer.
I get your point.
You understand? I think people are just gravitating towards these other people, and I don't like when they say this is for the culture because you ain't been in the culture long enough to talk about the culture. You really don't know the culture.
But
if you
Snoop
don't know nothing about shit that happened then before you were on, then you can't talk about it.
Yeah, that's very true.
You can't sit down and have a conversation with somebody like Rick Rubin because they're not even going to respect you because you don't know shit. You really don't know the culture, and you're putting this under the umbrella of this is for the culture. One thing that pisses me off, and I can't wait to see him because I'm so vocal and forward, I will say anything to anybody's face. And anybody knows that about me. When I was a kid, I grew up, my daddy had one mantra for his 3 boys. You walk in as a man, you walk out as a man. I don't let nobody talk shit to me because they got more money than me. So when I see Diddy, I have one thing to say to Diddy. Please stop making Ciroc commercials that say it's for the culture. It ain't no goddamn vodka for the culture.
I think Hennessy's for the culture.
Hennessy is not for the culture.
No?
You know how many motherfuckers that in jail right now because they was on that Hennessy?
Oh, no.
Hennessy is for the company that owns Hennessy to make money.
Hennessy tastes really good.
It does taste good, and I like it.
And
but
Jameson.
I am a grown man that knows how to control my drinking.
Okay. So
but
what do you
that's
mean
not
in the
about
context?
the culture.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, let me ask you a question.
Puff said
I need you to
Ciroc
clarify.
is for the culture.
So let's just say the reason why I said I personally think Hennessy is for the culture is because my peoples and my generation that are out here in this culture that I work in hip hop and music, they all have a certain level of respect when it comes to Hennessy, like going to Hennessy Palooza or brought to you by Hennessy. Like I look at Hennessy, I don't look at the Ciroc the way I look at Hennessy.
Drove themselves. We accepted Hennessy into the culture, but when I say something is for the culture, it benefits the culture overall.
Got you. Okay, I needed you to clarify.
How has Ciroc
it has
benefited the culture?
It has
benefited Puff.
Yeah.
Sean motherfucking Combs.
What is for the culture? Give me an example of something that's
BET was for the culture.
Okay.
Young TV Raps was for the culture.
Big facts.
In Living Color was for the culture because back to Bill Cosby. The Cosby Show was for the culture.
I see what you're saying.
It benefited us. How is drinking Ciroc and getting fucked up
in the club
benefiting the culture?
Or that perception.
It's benefiting the Combs family.
I think he's.
And God bless
So maybe
him.
he's talking, and I'm not saying I agree with him, but now that you're saying it, I think that he's talking about like perception. You know how perception is reality. If you pull up to the shindig with a bottle of Ciroc, you look like you are cool.
Even when
and
you're
cool
not.
Is supposed to be, yeah.
Perception is not reality.
He bought that new bottle of Pina Colada Ciroc. Oh, he bought that new bottle of pumpkin spice Ciroc. He must be He must be on. He must, have the plug to get that new bottle of
if
Ciroc.
People
that
really
hasn't been
believe that
released
somebody's on because they got a new bottle of Ciroc and they dumb as fuck.
You know what I mean?
I never believed that somebody was on.
Scenarios. Like you pull up to the party.
But it's still not, that ain't got nothing to do with the culture.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know what was for the culture? Bad Boy was for the culture. Because Bad Boy made it so that we can all go out and own $100 million companies, right? I saw a meme today, matter of fact, that had Suge sitting there at his sentencing. And if y'all just don't know, Suge just got 28 years for a murder, right? Suge sitting up at his sentencing, and it said, when you finally think to yourself that you should have probably been all up in the videos. Remember when
yes,
you got on,
I do remember.
You got on Puff. Puff is free. You're going to jail for 28 years for down and Puff, right? Instead of, Puff was not trying to be a gangster, and you chose the gangster lifestyle. And this is pretty much what you get when you choose the gangster lifestyle, right? But when those kind of things happen, there's not going to be an alcohol that's for the culture. Do you know how long it took Hennessy to realize that we fucked with them? And they still wasn't giving out money. They wasn't giving out money. You know who was giving out money? Martell was giving out money. When I was a Martell rep, we wanted to go at Hennessy hard with stencils and disrespect and all of that shit. But the guy, Laurent Martell, was like, no, I grew up with the Hennessy family. I didn't even know that they were really like families. Like people name Hennessy. And they all grew up together in Cognac, France, because that's only cognac has to come from Cognac, France.
That's true.
Now, are you coming up off of alcohol that Diageo owns? Don't get it twisted. I'm keeping it 100% real here, and Puff is not going to debate me on it. He might have a piece of it, but Diageo owns the fucking brand. It's good for the Combs family, and I love to see Puff do his thing. I've known him forever. I have no hatred in my heart towards him, but stop saying that this vodka, because you shoot some commercials with French Montana and a few other beautiful people, that most of the people that buy it will never get invited to your
those
party.
Parties anyway.
It's for the culture. It's not for the culture. Getting fucked up. It is. It's offensive to me.
I think about it.
It's offensive to me. It's offensive to KRS-One. It's offensive to Kane. It's offensive to Rakim. It's offensive to Grandmaster Flash, who is for the culture. You know, when you do something and something is for the culture, you would do it even if you didn't make money?
What would make Ciroc for the culture? What would make it for the culture? If they had like community events?
We got millions. No, I wouldn't even say millions. Thousands of young black kids here in Chicago getting killed every day. What did Ciroc do for the black community?
Yeah.
What did Hennessy do? Is there a Hennessy Learning Center? Is there a Hennessy After School Center? Is there a Hennessy?
I see what you're saying.
That's when you're doing something for the culture, but it doesn't make it for the culture.
But being for the culture is like a trendy thing now that everybody just throws around.
And I don't like
says.
it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, call me the motherfucking old man, but I'm going to defend the culture because I know what being for the culture is all about. That shit is not, a liquor is not for the culture.
I agree
It's some new jack motherfucker that happens to have an opinion that could talk. It ain't about the culture either. They're about lacing their pockets.
Yeah, I see the marketing tactic that he was going for, though, when it comes to that. But
no, trying to
genuinely,
trick niggas into drinking Ciroc.
Exactly.
That's it. That's like saying Louis Vuitton is for the culture because we like it and we buy it. Carl Kanai was for the culture. Walkerwear was for the culture. These are the people that started these brands because we couldn't really be accepted by the brands that we looked up to. They made it cool for you to wear your own. FUBU was for the culture.
Yes.
They made money. Damon John is still for the culture. He write books and do lectures
and Shark Tank.
He don't say Shark Tank ain't for the culture, but what he does is for the culture.
Yes. He doesn't need to say it. It's unspoken. It's
so
already known.
I get offended when I see Puff trying to push Ciroc as it's a cultural thing. Puff, when you did Broadway, when you did A Raisin in the Sun with that all-black cast, and you brought all of those kids in and buses and droves to see their first Broadway play, that was for the culture. That's when you succeed, it's for the culture. But that vodka is not for the culture. It absolutely is not for the culture. And when I see him, I'm going to tell him, Ciroc ain't for the culture, dude. Neither is Hennessy, neither is Crown Royal. Just because y'all making money off of it does not mean it's for the culture. It isn't. You doing business is good for the culture. You showing us how to be a successful businessman is good for the culture. But that brand, alcohol, could never be for the culture. It's like saying Timberlands is for the culture. We made Tim's hot. Tim's wasn't shit until we put our foot in it. And I remember when Timberland came out publicly and said they didn't want us wearing their boots for fashion. Mm-hmm. They said we make boots for construction, for the hard-working blue-collar man. And we was like, you motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. And speaking of motherfuckers, let's switch gears. I'm done. And Puff know I love him, but I'm done. Speaking of motherfuckers, should we as black people be happy that Tiger Woods won his 80th?
Yes, we should.
Tell me why. When he never wanted to be down with us.
Damn it. First off, I think that nihilism, right? There's a term out there called nihilism where if you grow up in a specific community or neighborhood, that's all you know. And I think that Tiger Woods grew up without having an identity of self when it comes to being black. He probably grew up with people that probably looked him in his face and said,
Asian mom.
You are not black. You are Asian. You know what I mean? He was probably going on family trips and he was the only chocolated Asian. So he probably didn't.
Is he from an affluent minority community too? You know what I mean?
I would love to find out, but I give him the benefit of the doubt.
My son is from an affluent non-minority community.
You're his father.
Black,
you are you.
His father instilled in him his identity, too.
I don't think so.
Tiger Woods was getting on Johnny Carson and all that when he was a kid, not because of his golf game, because he was a little nigga playing golf.
And I still feel like that it wasn't instilled in his mind that he is a black man.
How didn't he know when there was certain golf places he couldn't play golf at? Because they didn't accept African Americans.
And he was super light-skinned. Like, I'm sure that he
Tiger
got a
ain't that
pass.
light now. Tiger and I are about the same complexion now. Come on.
I defend it to this day. I think that he grew up not realizing who he was, and now he started coming more and more and more into his self. But the whole
do I need to be a little more forgiving?
No, because you wouldn't be where you are right now.
Because I got a hard stance on certain shit.
No, I think you should stay the same.
When you shit on me, you got one time to open your butt cheeks up and shit on me.
Yeah.
as a black man, and then
Tiger Woods never came out and said anything.
He said, "I'm not black. I'm Cablinasian."
Because that's how he. Same with Raven Simone. Raven Simone did the same shit. She said she's not black. She grew up in a certain part of area, and that's how she identifies. I think it is literally on how you train your own self. I'm black as fuck. I'm from Kentucky. I am an NIGGA to the core. But that's because my mother and father and my nanny and my papa and my grandma, and my granddad let me know where I'm from. Like they never let a day go by. I had all white friends in middle school,
but he didn't even
high
carry
school, and they let
like
me
that.
know. But
he didn't carry himself like that,
and
man.
I think over time,
I kind of felt like he shitted on us, even when he was a role model, even when young black kids were picking up a motherfucking golf club because of Tiger Woods. I feel like Tiger didn't do what Serena and Venus did. Serena and Venus is for the culture, right? They came out, they do fucking clinics with little black girls and little black boys that want to learn how to play tennis. Like, they really stand up for us in that world. And that world of fucking white tennis,
I don't disagree with you. It is very hard. Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
They got booed. They got fucking bananas thrown on the court when they was first coming up and shit like that. And they still stuck it out. Serena was just picked on again because she's a black woman and because she bust them bitches' ass.
It's a woman, though, man. Being a woman is different than being a man.
But they bust her ass. Imagine what Arthur Ashe went through, and Arthur Ashe stood next to Dr. King and everything. You ain't never seen Tiger Woods take up for Black Lives Matter.
That is true.
You ain't never seen Tiger Woods standing and saying, I support Colin Kaepernick and what Colin Kaepernick is going through. So why the fuck should I be happy for you?
Because he was probably going through his own shit, too. He probably didn't even know. He's been quiet. He hasn't said anything.
He like to keep that money.
Didn't he get arrested?
He lost a lot of it. Wasn't that divorce? Didn't he lose a bunch of...
That's how I know he black man.
He has mad bitches.
And
I do feel slighted. I feel slighted.
Mad bitches.
Was he with black women ever, though? Ever? Like,
I ain't never seen him with one. That's what I'm saying. So why should we feel happy for him?
I'm happy for him because it's been since 2013. I'm happy that his streak is over, or his losing streak is over, and he's back on top. When I was younger, all I had in sports was Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and Serena. And I want that to stay that way.
And it's still influential for your little black kid.
And it sure will, no matter what he's going through personally. I still feel like that he had an identity crisis, though. Michael Jackson had an identity crisis. I think that there's an identity thing.
Goddamn identity crisis. Mike was rich. Michael Jackson was fucking rich, and he just saw the world differently than everybody else, and Mike just wanted to be white. It ain't no two ways about that.
And you're talking about Tiger. You're trying to say Tiger Woods.
Not
what's
Tiger.
The difference?
Not that Tiger. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods.
That's a good point, but what's the difference?
Tiger's good. But I don't know if I want to just be super happy for him.
I want him to come out.
I want him to come out and embrace his blackness.
Black man won the golf tournament.
I want him to come out and say it. Like, yeah, we just what we do. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't see him with that video with Big Boy and he dapped up. I was shocked.
He dapped up?
Dapped up.
Okay, Tiger, you good.
Yes.
You dapped?
And they looked at him. He called him my brother. I think it was like a subtle dap. It wasn't like the black, like the way you pull up to Stevie B, like dap up. It was a subtle look at it. And you judge for yourself.
Okay, but
he called him his brother and everything.
He said, my brother?
My brother? Yeah.
Tiger Woods used the word
big
brother.
Boy. He said, thank you, my brother. That's
okay, the Tiger's with us. He back. All right, Tiger, you good, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
You can't apologize.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, you called Big Boy your brother? Yes, if you just spit an Outkast lyric, nigga.
He said, thank you, my brother.
Nigga, I'd have fuck with you all day. You think privately Tiger Woods said that, the N-word? You think Tiger Woods ever said?
And I think that there's especially...
You think Barack Obama said it?
No question. He says
Jim BT, you think Barack Obama ever said the N-word in his life?
I definitely don't think so. And mind you, he's biracial too. You got to remember that.
Do you think Barack get with his boys in a privacy with no mics around and be like, yeah, nigga?
Absolutely not. For a fact, he doesn't.
I do.
I think so.
No.
I think
Tiger does. I think Tiger says it to himself in the mirror.
I think Barack has said it to Michelle on several occasions.
Yeah, for sure.
I think when somebody black did something crazy on TV and Barack at home with Michelle to go, this nigga's fucking it up for everybody. Look what this nigga just did right here, Michelle. Michelle, you see this nigga here?
Oh, the problem with Tiger is he doesn't have anybody to say that to.
No
so
man's
he probably
he ain't had no man's
he says
I'm
it to himself probably in the mirror.
I volunteer to be one of Tiger Woods' mans.
Tiger probably be like, that's my nigga
you back
right
on
there.
top, Tiger. You need some mans in them
you
now.
Need Ed.
You need
Tiger.
me. You know who else need me? Let's switch gears because we got some time left. You know who need me? Kanye West needs me bad. And that's why I'm asking you about Tiger, because I had to go to Kanye right after. Am I too harsh? Should I forgive Kanye? Should I forgive Kanye for saying slavery was a choice?
No, and then he apologized for it, but no.
He said he was in a sunken place, but do I need to see receipts?
Fuck no.
If Kanye showed me prescriptions for drugs.
The world is soft because they don't have enough Ed lovers saying the shit that you never take back anything that you say. Unless you apologize.
People are looking at me crazy. Like, am I being too harsh on Kanye?
It's because you're not from Chicago and you live here now, and now that you're a resident of Chicago, people are expecting you to cater towards Kanye's feeling, because Chicago has that hold you down no matter what vibe.
Kanye was probably the biggest rap artist or the artist period to ever come out of Chicago. But when you damage the legacy of black people by using your voice in the wrong way, when you disrespect what my grandmother and grandfather went through in 1896 and beyond, by saying that they had a choice because of their situation, when they couldn't even get educated on the same level that you're educated on now, when many of them got hung from trees and hoes and dogs attacked on them, so that you can have the rights that you have right now, I find it disrespectful and almost to the point where it's unforgivable.
Yeah, I don't forgive him. I almost broke down and bought the Yeezys, and I called you on Friday and was like, Ed, should I get these Yeezys now that they're mass produced? And I thought about it. I really saw it and was like, I'm literally just buying these to say that I have them when I can take that money and buy Nike. Like, Nike, do you think Nike's for the culture? I don't mean to go back to...
I think Nike is supporting the culture by supporting Cap.
Yeah, I just think that he is a foul person. Now, if you want to make money and support
the culture, I'm fine with that.
And why
but it's
is
this
Kanye...
play of him coming back to Chicago.
And he's a Trump supporter.
Well, I don't know if he's Trump, but
he's a Trump supporter. He's a Trump supporter.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to
stick
up for him.
So I put my arms around him. I can't support. He's supporting a very oppressive person. Yes. This is the same man that has Mexican kids separated from their families.
That's still happening, y'all.
Yeah, it's still happening.
Families
so how
are
do you
still
support
separated from their niños.
How do you support a dude from their niños? How do you support a guy that supports that?
You want to. You try to separate the man from the music. I want him to. I honestly think Yeezy is a great line. There's pieces that I enjoy. There's heels that I like. There's spandex that I like. There's sneakers that I like. But every time I look and I'm about to click purchase, all I see is him walking out of that interview from WGCI and the TMI or the TMZ camera coming and him saying, Donald Trump is my friend. I support Donald Trump. And it's like, Donald Trump, again, there's tapes out there of Donald Trump literally shitting on minorities and Mexicans and black people and women. And
how many daughters does he have?
A lot.
How many daughters do Kanye West have?
Two. Chicago and North. And then he has a black son.
Right.
Your son is
a black woman.
Well, Kim's not black.
No, he's the son of a black woman.
He's the son of a black woman.
No, Kim's not black. She's Armenian.
No, Ed, I think that he wanted to come back to Chicago to be with his family, to get his credibility back.
Do you think this is real? Or
I think that he's
I
here for good.
don't trust nothing them fucking Kardashians, Wests do anymore. I do think he's been in a sunken place since his mom passed. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad for him, and I think he should have got psychiatric treatment to deal with his grief. He should have went to grief counseling. But I'm not sure as if he just feel like I'm falling off with the black people, so let me run back to Chicago.
I think he wants to be
jump
home.
on Chance. Let me jump on Chance to do an album. We're doing a dual album with Chance the Rapper, right? One of the hottest in the game right now. When this album comes out, and it does his numbers, watch his ass run back to motherfucking LA.
Ed. I think that it's a grieving process. I do. I believe.
So I should forgive him. You need a hug?
No, I don't think that you should forgive him. I think you need to keep your stance.
A real nigga in his life like me.
I think that he needs to be with his family more. His family is here, not in Calabasas, not on the West Coast.
What family?
Here. He has cousins. He has uncles. He has brother. His father's dying from cancer. So he physically needs to be here.
You know what? I know Chance is younger, but Chance comes from a really good family. You know, his dad's politically involved. His mom's a teacher.
Chance is
from born and raised, does a lot of community. So I feel like he's a good influence on Kanye. And I bet you he's embraced him and his family's embraced Kanye.
So what y'all telling me I should do? Should I let him get over with the shit he said in the past?
I think you should keep your perspective, keep your opinion. But if Kanye calls us and says, I want to talk to y'all, you should have that conversation.
And I'll give him praise personally.
Do we need a hug?
And I would like to say that Kanye's father has cancer. He's not dying from it. He's currently receiving treatment for it. Just to go ahead and
God
fix that
bless him.
statement.
I lost a dad to cancer, and that's a hell of a bad experience, man. I watched my pops go from 200 and something pounds down to like 136, man, and that shit that broke my heart. I watched my pops whittle away to nothing. So Kanye, on that front, I feel sorry for you, bro, but I don't know if I could take his apologies seriously, because there's always so much bullshit behind anything the Kardashians do. They either do it so it could be on TV, or they do it just for flat out publicity, or they doing it for money. So I don't know, is he really back here in Chicago to make Chicago a better place or not? Or is it just publicity? Until I get this record off with Chance and Common and show that I'm down with Chicago, then I'm busting my ass back to Hollyweird.
I think he's on a self-seeking journey, and he's trying to figure it out here. I don't know if it has to do with the public. I don't even know if it has to do with music.
So what do you think about his wife not rolling with him?
I think it's fucked up. I do. And I think me and Jen will disagree about it, because Jen's a mom. I'm not a mom, so I don't know. But I don't know. I'm going to let you know what? I think after thinking about it over the weekend, Jen, I think I agree with you more now after what you said. But I want you to give your opinion on why you think it's smart for Kim to stay on the West Coast, because her family's there.
Right, her family. So as a mom, we need our support system, and your support system is usually on the maternal side, at least in my case. You know, being Hispanic, I'm glad I live in a city that my mom's here, my dad, my cousins. So why would she move here without that support
your husband,
system?
Because nobody said you got to move here. If your husband is here, when you marry your husband, that's your family. That's what the Bible said. Don't debate me on this.
But when they got married, I'm sure they had that conversation, or at least I hope so, about where they're laying their roots.
No, my wife comes before my mama.
Oh, for sure. But I'm saying, so when you have children, who comes first?
Then
the way you raise your children.
My wife comes. I come first. So I'm
when you
husband.
say, hey, honey, me, you, and the kids, we're moving to France tomorrow.
If my wife, I don't have the money Kanye West had. If I had the money Kanye West had, my wife would be here with me in Chicago right now with the kids. And we don't have small kids. The kids can grow up in an affluent neighborhood in Chicago. Okay? Whatchamacallit's kids did it. Jordan's kids did it. And every other person that comes here that has kids that do it. Fuck her fucking mother. That's the problem now. He ain't putting his foot down. The kids need their maternal mother. No, they don't. Once you marry a woman, your woman comes in front of your mother. Your husband comes in front of your mother. And that's the problem now. People want to take the Bible and use the Bible for part of what they want to apply the Bible to their life for. Mm-hmm. Does it not say so in the Bible? Forsaking all others. Please speak to me. My sister knows this Bible like the back of her hand.
Yes, she does.
Does it not say in the Bible that...
It says that the man leads, period.
The man
is
leads.
the head of the household, and the woman follows.
Because her mother...
And then the children follows after that.
Her mother don't even watch her kids. The nanny watches the kids.
I don't think it's right.
A nanny
and her mom
here.
put her in a porno, too. So let's not talk about that. Yeah.
I think that...
Kim was in a porno.
Yeah, Kim doesn't want to leave Calabasas. Kim has never left Calabasas unless it's just for traveling. So imagining her uprooting, and it even says... You know, in the media, it says that she doesn't want to take her kids, or specifically North, out of school because she's already adjusting and getting.
She can find another school.
I'm sorry, but the average American has had to switch up some schools before.
Thank you. Plenty of time.
And I'm sorry, but I'm a big advocate on grief counseling and going home to help you feel whole. Kanye needs to be home so he can get over the fact. He's tried to self-medicate. He's tried to do everything over there. Now I feel like I'm an advocate of him being here.
Look at me
so
taking up for Kanye West.
Look at you.
Look at me taking up for Kanye West.
And as a
His wife belongs
as
where
a wife,
he is.
she should have gotten her kids
money.
and
They're not. It's different.
But what do I know, Ed? I'm not in their family. I'm not in their business. I don't have any kids
right now. You know why my wife is not in Chicago with me right now? Because I don't have a 5-6 year deal with this radio station. If I had a solid, guaranteed 5-6 year deal, my wife would have been like, "Okay, I'm bouncing." But this shit could end in another 6 months.
Know, but it won't. I claim victory in the name of Jesus. Jam 104.3 Jam, Chicago's number one for throwbacks.
But it's a possibility, right? So my wife was like, "We ain't all going to uproot for something that can or may not be solid for you." Okay, a year doesn't make it solid. All right, so once you get established, if it comes around to where we at that, let's keep our foundation here in Atlanta. And if it comes around to where it's solid like that for you, then I'll be glad to pick up my stuff and move. I will go to the end of the earth with you. Not I don't want to move because my mother. Fuck your fucking mother.
and
sisters. When you take
and
on when you get married, Jen, your husband comes before anybody else in your family, including your mama and your motherfucking sisters and your fucking show. Right? When he married Kim, he put Kim in front of everybody.
Money, I mean, if I had Kimye money, it'd be different for me because I could have nannies. But if me personally, if I had to move across state because of Nick, I would have no one here to help watch my babies because I don't have Kimye money.
You get somebody.
I don't have Kimye money.
You get somebody. If you're gonna move across the state with Nick for a good reason.
You're right. Good reason.
If it's for your husband's mental well-being, what's the problem?
Oh, okay. You're right. Okay, if you put it that way. But you know what? You made a good point about him. Or you, Krista, I think he's soul searching here. And I love seeing that his son Saint is here because I feel like he thinks his son needs to see what it's like to be an African-American man, too. Because think about it. Are they getting...
His son ain't going to get the real motherfucking Chicago.
I don't know. I like this daddy-son journey they're on.
I think it's cute. A family is a big thing when you are raising kids, though, because I was talking to Jen about this on Friday. If I got pregnant right now, I don't know how I would be able to handle it by myself. I don't have any family here. They're all back in Kentucky. So I feel like I would be pushed to move back to Kentucky for some time unless I have a ring on it with my husband.
Right. But you don't have their money.
Exactly.
If you got their money and you don't have to worry about money, that's a whole different thing.
Her
ass should be here in Chicago with her motherfucking husband.
I think Courtney would have did the opposite because when Scott's parents were sick and they were still alive, both of his parents died months apart. I remember Courtney being right there when he would have to go back up to the Hamptons or something. Right. Yeah, to take care of them. So it's like Courtney did it, but I mean, hey, that's their family business and they're working it.
Look at me supporting
talking about the Kardashians. You never talk about the Kardashians.
I just think that she should be with her husband. And I think she's being a selfish motherfucker by talking about she ain't coming. That's just my opinion because I know that I believe in the doctrine of the Bible. And when you take on a husband and you take on a wife and you stand for the God and say forsaken all others, that means fuck everybody else. Mm-hmm. It's about us two and our children. That's what it's about. It ain't about your comfortability versus my comfortability. Mm-hmm. Because I'm guaranteeing you, if she would have said, I have to go and do this or do that, Kanye would have been like, all right, let's go. Right? So why should it work one way?
I don't disagree with you.
Should be both ways.
I'm going to pray for them all.
Let's pray for them all, y'all. We're going to pray for them all. And on that note, thank you, ladies, for joining me for the weekend review.
Anytime.
And just talking shit. We're very opinionated, and we just love to talk. And we love to let you guys know of our opinions. Please make sure you check it out and leave comments. Let us know what you think about this. If you think we wrong, tell us we wrong. If you think we right, then agree with us. We could take it from both sides of the fence, right? Y'all keep God first. Everything else will fall into place. We'll talk at you, with you, to you, and about your ass next week. Be good if you can be good. Be careful. If you can't be careful, then shit. Buy yourself some Yeezys and move to Chicago, all right? Till next time we ride out, slide out. Ed Lover, Jen BT, and Krista saying God bless each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for tuning us in and never tuning us out. We give you the good shit.
Never the bullshit.
That was so whack.
I can say shit.
Just can say shit. We give you the good shit.
Never the bullshit.
Right here on the Come On, Son, the podcast. Now, come on, son. The fuck out of here with that bullshit. We gone. This Ed Lover podcast is being done in conjunction with Cigars International. Make sure you check out cigarsinternational.com for all your cigar needs.
This episode of Come On, Son, the podcast is produced and engineered by co-executive producers Kimana Paulus and Krista Hayes. Recorded at Mean Street Studios in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. This is an official Loudspeakers Network podcast. Network podcast.